But I decided today's the day I'm going to harvest my garlic. So you want to, I like to go when it's a third to 2/3 of these are completely dried. I'm going to pull up a few. I might change my mind and I might leave them halfway through, but these bottom ones, there's 1, 2, 3 that are completely dried off. So for me, it's saying she's probably done. So we'll just take a look. Now, because I am also growing, there's kale here, there's celery, you really want to be careful not to dig those out as well. That is the hard part with companion planting, especially with things that need to come up way earlier than other things. So just watch for that. So what I like to do is I take my little fork and I dig down and kind of press up. You don't want to pull your garlic up because that's not working. So I'm going to dig down until I find the base here. Because if you pulled up, you're probably just going to pull this stalk off and you're not going to get to the garlic. So now that I know exactly where it is, I might actually have to get a shovel. And you kind of just want to go around to loosen up the dirt. I probably should have waited. I might wait another day for the rest just because this ground is pretty moist. Holy smokes. There she goes. Oh, that's why it was so hard, is it is a nice, there's against my hand, big piece of garlic. Just get the dirt off there with a really, really nice root system on it. So they're definitely ready to harvest, but it's still pretty wet. So I'm actually think I'm going to let the rest of these dry out another day just so they're a little bit easier. And you want this material. So all the green in here is sugars, nutrients, all that other stuff. And what it'll do is, whoop, whoop, there we go. See that nice big garlic head? So what this will do is when you dry it out, all of the extra nutrients and energy will go back into your garlic bulb. See, I nicked it. That's something you don't want to do. But those nutrients will then form that nice papery wax over top when you're drying to help it cured. So what you want to do now that you have it out is, as best as you can, even though I stopped watering for 4 days, the soil's still pretty wet on here. So you just kind of want to, I nicked it a couple times. Okay, I gotta be more careful with the other ones. So try not to nick it because that will cause a bruise and it could cause issues in your garlic. So, and then you're gonna hang this upside down and I'll show you later in this video how I do that. You can eat this garlic right now. You don't have to dry it. Drying it cures it so that you can store it all year long, but you can eat this as soon as it comes out of the ground if you want. If you're gonna eat it right away, I would cut it, leaving about, this much, 4 to 6 inches of stem, just so it still has some protection from down here, and then cut the roots off. You do not want to wash these. You don't want to wash the dirt off this. You just get it off to the best of your ability, and then when it dries, the rest will come off. But if you wash it, then you add moisture in here, and it wrecks with the curing process. So here we go. Hopefully I don't damage the rest, but now we'll dig the rest of these out. Just give you a better, look at the size of that compared to my hand. It is a really nice head. This is probably the biggest garlic I've grown. Just one last one to show you close up. So you want to expose the top of the garlic before you even try to pull it out. So that's what I've been doing, is I've been exposing the top, loosening around the sides, and then giving it a pull. The soil now kind of has an open wound, so you can see where all the garlic came out. There's holes. I'm going to flatten this out and then add some compost. So we'll just put the garlic away quickly and then I'll add that, and then I'm going to actually add more brassicas. So I'll probably get rid of some of this kale. I've got my freezer full of kale, and I'm not a big kale person unless it's in a soup. So that's all I use it in is the winter. I don't use it very much during the summer. So I'll probably thin some of this out a little bit and then add some winter or fall harvest kale. Or not kale, sorry, brassicas. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of fill in the holes, and then I have some compost that I made in the spring from grass clippings and wood chips. This is going to be a carbon heavy compost just because all the wood chips don't break down, but there's still lots of nitrogen and there's a little bit of food in there, potato. But there's still lots of good nitrogen in there. This is just an eggshells for bringing back calcium. The extra heavy carbon is going to allow more moisture. Even though this is holding moisture really well, this is just going to really help it throughout the summer, hold a little extra moisture. And there we go. How I like to think about it is, so every time you pull something out of the soil, it's kind of like an open wound in that you expose all the bacteria that was living underneath and microorganisms to sunlight and air, which they don't like. That's why they live under the soil. Now, don't get me wrong. Once you fill that back in, it's just like skin. They'll grow right back. But by adding compost, we just kind of fill it in faster. It's like kind of putting a Band-Aid on top so they can form faster. And the compost acts as food for them. So it kind of supercharges them back to healing. So again, I'm not going to plant the brassicas right now because, I'm not going to plant the brassicas right now because it's hot. It's 10 a.m. in the morning and it's already pretty hot. So I'm going to wait till the evening, and then I'm going to set this to water right after for a few minutes just to soak them in. And then I'll have to up the watering in this bed just because new seeds need a lot more water than established plants. The kale will survive. Whether or not I'm going to keep it, I haven't decided. But because that's the other thing with companion planting, because there's things intermixed, when I put the compost right on top, then it doesn't expose these roots for very long to oxygen. Roots need oxygen to survive, so pulling it out is not going to hurt them. But the addition of the compost will just, like I said, help seal that and help give them even more nutrients to keep growing. Okay, and there we have them all hung up. You want to hang them up in a airy, dry area. A lot of places or a lot of sites and people will suggest a garage, shed. This is in my basement. There's no direct sunlight that gets in here. It's not as airy as I had hoped, but it's what we have. My husband works on machines, like motors and stuff in the garage. So I'm not putting mine in the garage because I don't want them to smell like motor oil or anything like that. This will make your house smell like garlic. So if you don't like the smell of garlic, make sure you find somewhere outside that is dark and airy to dry out. They'll take, I'm trying to remember. I think it's about 4 to 6 weeks to fully dry out. Now, at any point, if I wanted to use some of these, I just come, I cut it, I pull that out, and I throw these in the compost. This is for long-term storage. If you're going to use them right away, you don't have to worry about hanging them with all their foliage. You can just start using them.